You get the promotion, the breakthrough, the thing you worked for, and someone close to you quietly hopes you fail, not out of cruelty, out of something far more instinctive. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger discovered that we don't judge our own worth in isolation. We judge it against the people closest to us. And what happens when that comparison turns threatening reveals one of the most uncomfortable truths about human relationships. People rarely measure themselves in isolation. Often, we look sideways at friends, colleagues, and siblings to judge how well we are doing. In 1954, Leon Festinger described this as social comparison, a built-in instinct to evaluate our abilities and worth by using others as reference points. When clear standards are missing, comparison becomes the default tool for self-assessment. Not all comparisons are equal. Sometimes we look upward, measuring ourselves against someone who seems just a little more successful or skilled. This upward comparison can spark motivation, but it can also create a sense of threat if the gap feels too wide. Other times, we compare downward, seeking reassurance by focusing on someone who is struggling. This may offer a temporary boost to self-esteem, yet it can also mask deeper insecurities. Lateral comparisons, looking at people much like ourselves, help us calibrate what is normal or expected, especially in close-knit groups. These patterns play out everywhere: a coworker's new title, a sibling's award, a friend's good news. Each moment of comparison quietly shapes our self-perception, sometimes inspiring us, sometimes unsettling us. Social comparison is not just a quirk of personality, it is a universal part of being human. The people who shape our self-image most are often those closest to us. A friend's promotion, a sibling's new achievement, even a coworker's praise in a meeting. These moments strike deeper because the comparison feels personal. When the usual standards for success are unclear, the brain leans even harder on those nearby as benchmarks. A near peer's progress is not just another data point, it becomes the scale by which we measure our own worth. Psychologists have found that similarity magnifies the impact. When someone shares your background, your role, or your ambitions, their success feels more relevant. The social comparison becomes less abstract and more urgent, as if their progress resets what is possible or expected for you. This effect is especially strong in tight circles, among friends, siblings, or close colleagues, where achievements are visible and shared. In these relationships, every step forward by someone similar can feel like a subtle shift in the ground beneath your feet. The mind does not simply admire, it measures, recalibrates, and sometimes questions its own standing. Even small wins by those close to us can set off a quiet review of our own progress, ambitions, and self-worth, making success an emotionally charged event rather than a neutral fact. Admiration takes root when someone else's success is seen as a lesson, not a threat. It's a response that stays focused outward. Genuine praise, curiosity, even a willingness to ask, "How did you do it?" In these moments, another person's achievement becomes a kind of roadmap. Admiration doesn't sting, it uplifts, and sometimes even brings people closer together. But comparison doesn't always land so gently. When the gap between self and other feels unbridgeable, envy can set in. Psychologists now separate envy into two forms. Benign envy is the sharper cousin of admiration. It comes with a pinch of pain, but also a push to improve. When the difference seems possible to close, this form of envy can fuel effort and growth. A colleague's promotion might sting, but if you believe you could earn one too, that discomfort can turn into motivation. Malicious envy, though, is a different animal. It twists the focus inward and breeds resentment. Rather than striving to rise, the impulse is to see the other pulled down. This is where subtle sabotage, coldness, or backhanded praise can appear. The mind starts to guard its own rank, especially when success feels like a zero-sum game, where one person's gain is imagined as another's loss. In competitive circles, this belief quietly turns admiration sour, feeding a need to protect status at any cost. The difference, then, isn't just in the feeling itself, but in what the feeling asks us to do. Admiration opens doors. Destructive envy closes them, sometimes without a word. Both are deeply human responses, shaped by the belief that our value is measured against those closest to us. A colleague's promotion can feel like a spotlight turned inward. In the quiet after the announcement, self-evaluation begins, not always with pride, but with a creeping sense of exposure. Tesser's self-evaluation maintenance model describes how, when someone close succeeds in a domain we value, it can unsettle our own sense of competence. The win doesn't just belong to them, it quietly suggests a new standard, one that may feel just out of reach. For many, this triggers a mental spiral. The imposter phenomenon, first described by Clance and Imes, takes hold. Even those with strong records start to question if they belong. Achievements feel fragile, as if one misstep could reveal a hidden lack of ability. The mind works overtime to explain the gap. Sometimes it is easier to attribute a peer's success to luck, connections, or timing, anything but skill. This isn't simple bitterness, it is a way to guard a threatened self-concept, a fragile shield against the fear of being exposed as less than capable. Social identity also comes into play. When rank shifts within a close group, the sense of belonging can wobble. A promotion doesn't just move someone up, it can make others feel pushed down, even if nothing tangible has changed. Underneath the polite congratulations, there is often a private reckoning. The mind may minimize the other's achievement or quietly withdraw, not out of malice, but as a way to restore balance. Attribution errors creep in, distorting how we see both ourselves and the person who advanced. Their win feels like luck, our struggles feel like evidence. In these moments, the spiral is invisible but real, an internal battle that shapes how we relate to success, both our own and others. A friend offers congratulations, but the words feel thin, the smile a little too tight. Underneath the surface, small jokes or playful digs reveal a calculation. Your success quietly unsettles the balance. Studies describe this as passive-aggressive rivalry, where support is rationed and information sometimes withheld to restore a sense of equality. In the workplace, the same tension finds new forms. A colleague may praise your project in meetings, yet delay sharing key data or introduce minor errors into a shared report. Research from the Sauder School of Business shows envious employees are more than twice as likely to withhold information or slow a teammate's progress when they feel threatened or left behind. The atmosphere stays professional, but the competition is real, shaped by perceived unfairness. Within families, pride and comparison often blur together. A parent's toast to one child's achievement is met with a sibling's quiet remark or a loaded silence. Sibling rivalry research links these moments to perceived unequal attention, sparking subtle competition. Family members share the same emotional circle, so comparisons are hard to escape. Hidden resentment often appears first as a shift in tone or a delayed response, long before open conflict. Genuine admiration stands out in the way it celebrates others. When someone truly admires your success, their words are specific, their praise is warm, and their offers of help feel sincere. They name what moved them, and their curiosity invites connection rather than competition. Healthy admiration is outward-facing. It looks for ways to learn or join in rather than to measure or diminish. Destructive envy, on the other hand, leaves a different trail. The compliments may come, but they land with an edge, a backhanded remark, a joke that stings, or a quick shift to minimize what you have achieved. Sometimes, support is offered, but never arrives. Other times, there is a quiet withdrawal or unexplained coldness, especially when success is visible. In workplaces and families alike, these patterns can take the shape of withheld information, subtle sabotage, or a sudden lack of enthusiasm for shared plans. When these markers repeat, especially with chronic comparers, it is wise to set firmer boundaries. Reducing exposure to those who consistently compete or undermine helps protect your self-concept. Honest conversation can also be powerful, naming what you have noticed without accusation, and often shifts the dynamic. Where trust still exists, this can open space for real understanding. Seeking out mentors and allies, people who see your growth as a shared win, can reset your perspective and lessen the sense of isolation. Reframing success as non-zero sum is key. Growth is not a contest with only one winner. The real aim is to step outside the comparison cycle and focus on your own process. By choosing clarity and self-respect over rivalry, you create room for genuine connection and personal progress. Today, comparison is only a swipe or scroll away, fueling envy in friendships, families, and teams alike. Yet the science is clear: honest self-reflection, not rivalry, leads to real growth. When we stop measuring our worth against others, we make space for deeper connection and for genuine peace.